And that thumbnail, I'm like, I don't know where the camera is, but I know it's on this side of the screen. Oh, it's down there. That's awkward. Can I do it this way? If I do this, there we go. That's less awkward to look at, more awkward in the hand, but that's fine. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's the 28th of August, which means it's my half birthday. I'm 228. Today's 828. 2 plus 6 is 8. That's half of a year. A year is 12. And I'm outside. I haven't been on a walk in a hot minute. Yeah, okay. I'm like thinking about where the camera is. Hopefully, you can hear me. I have my AirPod in. Um, the audio quality is questionable on these sometimes. Most of the time, it seems like I'm like distant or fuzzy or whatever. But anyway, I'm outside. It's lovely in the shade. Ooh, come on. Good morning, Eve and Holly. Hello, how are you doing today? Today's an amazing day. It's Virgo season. Wait, hold up. When's your birthday, Eve? When's your birthday? Did I miss it? I know your birthday isn't on my half birthday. I feel like it was before my half birthday. I feel like I owe you a happy belated birthday. But is it early or belated? I think it's belated. Oh. Oh. Okay. I'm still early. Well, happy early birthday regardless. It's your season. I'm loving Virgo season this year. I was so excited for it. I don't know why, but how are y'all doing? I feel like I ain't walked in a minute and my breath is already starting to lose me. I'm starting to lose it. But I left work. Was it late? Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday? And it was like, it felt so good. I was like, oh, it's like such a nice evening out. Like it's chill, there's a breeze. And for a second, I was like, whoa, who am I? Because, like, that's not usually things that I'm like, oh, like it's a nice night to just like be outside. But maybe it's because I've been spending so much time inside that, you know, can you see me? Yeah, we're back out here in the cemetery. So this is where I saw those dogs last time. That's where there's that thing about only a man this strong could so gently hold a newborn baby as it takes its first breath. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I was at work yesterday and I noticed that there was a fear that I used to feel that was just like gone. And I was like, whoa, what? It just like left overnight. And so last week was rough. Last week was real rough. I'm burning out. I'm burnt out. Um, but I'm gonna use today to like recharge and stuff. Celebrate my half birthday by going to that. I don't think I mentioned it on this channel, but we have a metaphysical store in my hometown now. After being home for nearly 3 years and like not having one, I was driving down the street and I look on the side. I'm like, whoa, what's that? We got a metaphysical store, so I'm gonna go check that out after I leave here, get some Starbucks. I might go home and shower first. I should probably do that, but I don't know. We'll see. Because I'm already out. But anyway, so it's been a rough week just because I'm like so burnt out. And I was talking to some coworkers, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. It was probably Wednesday. And they were like, oh, how's it going? And I'm like, It's getting harder and harder to come in the mornings. I'm burnt out. It's rough, blah, 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 blah. And then Thursday, I was just like, I don't feel like complaining today about how I feel. Because if I talk about it, it's not going to change anything. And the more I talk about it, the more energy I'm just like wasting, burning, where I could just be doing whatever. So I was like, I'm going to suffer in silence. Today I'm going to suffer in silence. And then Friday I suffered in silence. But since I was suffering in silence, I got a little aux cord, I guess, because there's a little stereo boombox in the lab. And I hooked it up to the computer, and I've been listening to, earlier in the week, it was a lot of like old-timey music, so like 1930s, 1940s. And it's at least one, maybe two channels on here where it's like reading a book upstairs while there's a party going on downstairs, or like being by the river at a picnic and there's a party going on. And so what it'll be is like, it's old-timey music, but it'll be like if it were downstairs, or there'll be water sounds. It puts an environment around the music. Whew! I ain't walked in like a month and I'm trying to talk at the same time. This is rough. But that's what I was listening to earlier in the week and I loved it. But Thursday I was like, you know what? I'm suffering in silence today, so I'm gonna scroll, because they'll pop up. I was like, I'm gonna scroll in the first like 435 hertz, remove, blah, 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 whatever I find, I'm gonna play. And so it was like a Tibetan singing bowl thing where it's like remove negativity. And I was like, oh, perfect, because we're gonna remove that negativity from in here. And as I was suffering in silence and listening to that, I found that peace that I cultivated within myself. And I was like, oh, snap. Like there was this whole period from like basically January, February, March, April of 2019. I meditated a lot. And when I did that, not only did I like create and cultivate this internal peace or whatever, but I found the feeling of how that feels for me. And I'm decent at finding feelings. So I was like, oh, but it wasn't until I was like, I'm gonna suffer in silence and play this Tibetan singing bowl, whatever, and I'm gonna get quiet, did I like find that place again. And I'm just like, I completely forgot that I had this. I was like, I guess because things have been so crazy and I just don't like meditate as much as I used to. I don't observe any mindfulness practices in my day-to-day life anymore. And it's not that I'm not like mindful, but you know, I don't purposefully set out time to like go within or whatever. So it was really nice. I was like, oh wow, I forgot that I know how to do this. So Friday was a lot better. That's why I also suffered in silence Friday. And I sort of somewhat discovered that again in suffering in silence, I just got things done instead of sort of like complaining about it and taking time. And Friday was a little rough. I'm like dropping stuff. I'm like, oh well, you know. Also, another thing that I've discovered. Oh snap! Hold up. Where's my? There it is. Where's the time? Oh, 11:19. Okay, I can make another lap. Synchronicity. Synchronicity has been like crazy lately. It feels like everything is synchronizing with everything, and it will be like within the day or within a few days. I've noticed like, so I was at work in the hood, right? And I accidentally pulled one too many Petri dishes out of the sleeve. And I'm like, well, it's already out of the sleeve, and I feel some type of way about putting it back in the sleeve because that compromises the sterility of the dishes. So I was like, oh, I could just throw it away. But I was like, no, I'll put it in the back so that way if I need to do a gram stain and pour a little water, I got something to put it in, because it's easier to transfer water from a plate than it is from the bottle. So, and then I go out and I'm doing environmentals and one of my plates falls. Or no, the plate didn't fall. I set it down. I opened up the plate and I set it down, and like, ooh, and a fan just blew the lid down into the whatever as soon as I like went to open the plate. And I'm like, what? But then I was like, oh, that plate I didn't throw away earlier because I had a feeling like I could use it for something, because that's just like how the end of last week was, or this week. That's how the past few days have been. I was like, oh, I had that plate. I can just use the lid from that plate to close this one. So it's been some stuff like that. What was that about? Where it's like something will happen and then immediately. So like another thing is I've been down to one pen for over a month now. I had two of them. One I kept in my cup upstairs and another one that I kept on me. And so one day, randomly, I noticed on one of the legs on my computer monitor is the second pin that's been missing. I was like, where did that pen go? I must have lost it. So I find the pen. The next day, someone's like, hey, Pat, like my pen died. Can I borrow, or like, can I have yours? And I was like, yeah. And then I went upstairs and I grabbed that pen that I found. And then the synchronicities have been like in other ways too. And so that's why last time when I was live and I was like, you know, I'm going through, there's this, I guess, phase of life that I'm in right now where, because I am who I am and how I am, there are things that I know I could be doing. Meaning, like, there are opportunities to learn lessons. There are opportunities to put lessons into play in new ways in my life right now to help me get further into whatever. So y'all know how earlier in the year I was like, this is happening and that's happening at work, but it's an opportunity for me to come into like the power of my voice, or it's an opportunity for me to like learn how to take a stand professionally or whatever. So it's a continuation of that lesson. And I've been not wanting to, I've been avoiding it, which is one of the reasons why I'm like, if life sort of is what it is right now, then there are things I know I could be doing that I'm not doing. So, but yesterday I took advantage of indirect contact because that out was given to me, and I was like, yeah, but like I don't want to send the email. But yesterday I just sent it because I guess it's that time. And that's another reason why I'm like, oh, so like it kind of sort of makes sense why that fear wasn't there anymore. And it wasn't like a deathly fear, it was just like a small one. But I'm just like, I'm gonna start doing this stuff. Oh, look, it's a squirrel. It just stopped. I don't think it's gonna let me. It's already on the move. It's right in front of a tree, so. It looks like a young squirrel too. Yeah, it was just gone. And so that's something that I did, but yesterday or the day before yesterday, when I was like, I feel like I might be like asking for a sign or getting a synchronicity, and then it's like, well, if you get one, like, will it even matter? Because you'll ask for another and another and another, and then we're gonna be 1,500 synchronicities deep, and you're still not doing the thing that you already knew and know you need to do. So do you really need another sign? Or do you need to just like do what you know you need to do? And I'm like, oof, okay, well. But for some reason, and I think it was probably because of Thursday when I was like, I'm just going to be silent today. I'm going to speak as little as I possibly can and focus on putting myself in that peace that I completely forgot I created or found. Yeah, so that's also been the later half of this week. It was more like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably. And it really did. It just got to the point where it's like, would another sign of synchronicity even matter at this point? Like, would it help? Would it make you feel better for us to continuously confirm that you are where you're supposed to be? And hey, like, maybe you should try doing this. Because I'd be like, oh, like, well, maybe that one doesn't count. Or like, yeah, but that could be anything. Or like, that one's just like random. Like, I need like a real sign. And then you get a realer sign and it's like, oh yeah, but I don't know, that's still not. And so it was, I think probably Thursday night before I went to bed, when I was like, okay, like, it's time to sit with Patrick. Patrick, it's time to sit with Patrick. What's going on? What's happening? And I feel like it was these like really dull, really old fears that had become like really dull. So it was almost like some of the feeling that those fears would bring up were, it's like it was like the recognition of a pattern. So it's like, I usually feel like this, or I used to feel like this, and I'm not really feeling that feeling right now. But I feel like I'm hitting a soft block. And like another thing, I've had this lesson come up a few times before, where it's like, if I make a choice and decision that I would have made in like that old Patrick would have made, pre-Darkest Night Patrick, pre-On the Journey Patrick, pre-Healing Patrick, whenever I make a choice or decision that he would have made, it's like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I going backwards or whatever? And every time that happens, it's like, it's the motive and the motivation. So the reason behind why I make whatever choice or decision that I make is completely different. I'm not making choices and decisions for the same reason. Right now, I'm choosing to stay here not because it's comfortable and I can't make a choice, or I can't be cardinal enough, I can't be active enough in my own life to make a choice and decision to do something different, to step out, to take that leap of faith. Like, that's not why I'm here right now. I'm here because I feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. I'm here because there are things that I'm still learning, and in the situation that I'm in right now, I see an almost unique opportunity to really learn things that I know I'm gonna need moving forward, or to flex some muscles that I haven't used or that I rarely use, or to put things in play so that later in life, or like in the next chapter and the next thing, like, I know how to do this, I know how to use it. I'm not like procrastinating out days, weeks, months, knowing that there's something that I need to say but not saying it for whatever reason. Like, I can get all out of the way now. Like learning time management, or learning that if I dedicate myself to a task and complete that task and then move on to the next task, I might work through the day a little quicker than trying to do everything all at once. So like, those are reasons why I haven't necessarily put a whole bunch of energy into the next thing. It's not because I'm so comfortable or complacent, or I'm deathly afraid of the unknown, and so I'd rather stay in a situation where I know I'm not really happy or comfortable. The reason behind it is completely different. And again, that's something that I have to, it's something that I've revisited a few times since I learned it the first time. Um, and it's funny because I feel like that's sort of been coming out. Whew. Excuse me. So that's kind of sort of where I've been. I think, too, another thing that I've encountered is the word is disbelief. Um, Things have been kind of dull lately. So that was like a dull fear. I guess I've had like a dull belief. It's like a belief that something will happen or that something is possible. And it's not that I don't believe it. It's like I believe it, but I can't necessarily imagine it being my reality, if that makes sense. Um, and so it's not that I thought it would never happen, but it's not necessarily like, well, what does this mean? Um, but I guess that's not a bad place to be in either, because then it leaves room for the experience to be what the experience is. Again, like, I'm not super great with holding expectations for things that I've never experienced, because how would I know what to expect? You know what I mean? And so that's kind of sort of generally where I've been while like working so much and feeling so tired and being so burnt out. Hey Lisa, how you doing? Oh, but yeah, now I don't know, after Friday, I guess there's some resistance that I've let go of. So, oh, thank you. That was part of the email. I was like, hey, look, for a month now, I've been doing more than a one-person job and kind of sort of in a way more than a two-person job. And I don't really get weekends because everything is on a timer. And I'm like, I'm looking to take an extended weekend on the next long weekend. Friday to Monday, I want off. And like my boss now is more flexible and reasonable than the boss I had at the beginning of the year. So I don't necessarily anticipate it being a problem as such, but whew, I'm struggling to breathe, Lisa. I'm just like, trying to catch my breath. I ain't been out here in a while. I'm just playing. I'm work has been busy. I feel like my whole life is work, but outside of work, I'm amazing. Inside of work, I don't, like, I'm tired and a little burnout, but besides that, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. I have little to complain about, um, but much that I can. And it kind of like, I used to be the type of person that loved to complain. I used to legitimately feel that complaining made me feel better. But now I'm just like, I'm tired of like talking about work all the time. Or somebody be like, hey Patrick, like, how's it going? Or like, oh my gosh, what have you been up to? I'm like, work, that's it. Work, more work. But that'll be coming to an end here soon. And so it's time to start looking at what comes next. Because I only have, it's the 28th, 2 or 3 months left. Either late October or late November, and I'll be done. So yeah, that's what I did Thursday. And I was talking about that. It's like Thursday, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna suffer in silence. I'm just gonna take it. And then I found a remove negativity Tibetan singing bowl video, and I listened to it. And then in that space of mindfulness, in that space of a conscious, purposeful mindfulness, I found all the internal peace that I had created and cultivated, that in life and living life and working more, I forgot was there. And I found the feeling that, like, what that is for me, I found that feeling. And I'm decent at finding feelings. So I'm like, oh, that's a feeling I can reach for whenever I need it. Forgot about that. It took all of that to get me to remember. So I'm coming out of it now. And I'm experiencing, I guess, a shift in a few things and a readiness to take or accept whatever comes next, as well as some initiative, because that's cool. I think I'm also, like, I've changed so much over just the past year, because in 2 days it'll be a year since I started, and then on the 1st it'll be a year since my first day in the lab. But within like the past 2-3 years, but within the last year specifically, I've changed so much in ways that I didn't even necessarily know or notice. And after it comes to my awareness of how much I've changed, I also realize that, like, what I want has changed. And so I thought I was ready. I thought I knew what direction I was going in until I went to that wedding like a month ago, a little over a month ago. And I was like, oh, wow. I don't think I want what I thought I wanted, because I'm not who I was. Like, I used to run away from interaction and intimacy and vulnerability. Vulnerability a little less so, but for reasons that I've talked about before and more. I never wanted to get close to anybody. And, like, even my own family, I didn't want to feel like I depended on them or I relied on them. I didn't want to feel like I needed anybody for anything, because I wanted to be able to just, like, sever a connection, run away, and be like, they don't matter. I can do it by myself. And that, like I just said, it was motivated by certain things that since 2019 I've been really intentional on working through. And so now that those reasons and motivations no longer hold and no longer exist, not only am I, like, open to the truth of who I am, which is not who I was at all, but who I was ended up becoming a part of who I am. But, like, with all of that gone, and, like, and because of those, I now seek more of the experiences that I purposefully and intentionally, like, stopped myself from having. So, well, thanks, Eve. So that's why I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should visit what I do, because I don't want, because before I was like, oh, I want something like nearly exclusively remote, and I want to be able to do this, and I want to be able to do that. Like, I still want to be able to do all of the things that I wanted to do, but, like, I don't mind going in. Like, I work with coworkers that I love, and I've always had coworkers that I love in all of my jobs, pretty much, most of them. And that's something that I would miss if I was, like, fully remote, or if there was, like, if I didn't, like, have the opportunity to, like, go in and, like, engage in person with the people I work with. Unless I didn't like them, then I would appreciate the full remoteness. Um, but just stuff like that, it's like, so now, like, if it's like semi-remote, you know what I mean, or it's finding an in between now. So that's another reason why it's like there are opportunities upon opportunities upon opportunities, and it's all creating space. And I get the opportunity with the mindfulness and awareness that I bring to the situations that I find myself in life. I get to decide, in a way, uh, what I take out of it and what I want to work on and how I want to improve myself. And I find myself in a place of being able to not necessarily experiment, um, but to find my way of doing things. And, it just required me to go a little burnout because I can be a little stubborn. I can be really stubborn. So there'll be things that I know I need to do and I won't do until I burn myself out. And I'm like, okay, well, this isn't working. So yeah, I'm going to have to do it now. And I'm like walking against the sun instead of like walking this way today. Whew. Oh, gotcha. Whew. But yeah, so that's pretty much what my life has been as I've been figuring it out, but also in between all the work, trying to discover, really trying to optimize, I guess, being in this space that I'm in before I'm so quick to jump into something new. It's like there's no point in rushing to the next thing if I don't learn these things now, because I'll just need them later. And I'd rather learn them now so I don't have to deal with it later. So yeah, and then other things, other lessons I'm learning, I'm sure I'll be open to, or I am. So that's pretty much it. I am nearing the end of my walk. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for listening to my update, I guess. I don't know, whatever this was. It's my half birthday today. I plan on enjoying it. I thought I'd have more planned, but I also didn't think I would wake up this early. I thought I would sleep in a little more. I woke up at like 7. I was like, oh, too early. Woke up at 8. Oh, too early. Woke up at 9. Too early. Woke up at 10. I'm like, come on, like I wanted to sleep in until like 2 today. I wanted to just sleep. But oh snap, that was a word that I was seeing a lot for. Thank you. That's a word I was seeing a lot for a few days, maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Supernova, like everything was supernova, like this supernova, that supernova. It was supernova synchronicity like crazy. And then yesterday, or no, it was Friday, on the computer in the lab, the background image, because they cycle, was a supernova. I was like, oh, okay, well, look at that. I'm gonna stick to the shade. But yeah, and maybe it's because I've been inside for so long, I've been like really enjoying outside. Or maybe it was because Thursday, like that little mindful moment that I had of reconnecting to that, again, that piece that I found and built and established within myself. Maybe that's the reason why too. I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying like the breeze and being outside, and my arm hair is blowing and me thinking that it's a bug on me. But yeah, how have y'all been? I guess I feel like I don't really. Yeah, how have y'all been? Whew, that's pretty much everything over here. Oh, it switched from, oh, hold up. It switched from a desert to a star this morning. Hey. You're welcome, Lisa. No problem. That's what I'm here for, to share my journey with you. And I don't know, because transparency is important to me. I feel like, to be honest, transparency is especially important to me because I feel some type of way about how things come out. I feel like it can be very, like, sometimes hot and finger pointy, but also at the same time, it's like, well, first it might start a little hot and then it soothes or it balms a little bit. But because of that, and I think even before that, um, as honest and what? Lucier? What kind of name is that? Luke's Lucas. Like Luke's Lucas, Lukey, Lukem, Luke. Anyway, you've had cloud and rain for days. I'm enjoying it too, because it's been raining a lot. It's been very cloudy and rainy here too. Um, but today, I guess, was the day. Where did I park? I just saw the car. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Well, I'm at my destination. So, it's your dad's birthday. Oh, well, enjoy. I hope you enjoy your time with your dad, and sorry for your loss. And I think even loss is something that, or maybe it's because I don't hold on to what I allow myself to connect to so tightly now that I have a different relationship with it. So that's a little healthier. Whew. All right. Well, again, thank y'all for being here. I hope y'all have an excellent whatever whenever you see this. If you're not, I hope you have a much better one soon. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Here are the trees. There's the sky. Is that the sun? Maybe. I don't know. Bye.